Welcome to this week's Q&A, everyone. I've got a really good Q&A. Thank you everyone so much for your questions this week. Now, I just want to say before we start, I think this time, like right now, this time in the year, is one of the best times to really knuckle down and think about your health and fitness because the bank holidays are done, they're complete. It's the end of half term. We're all back to work, we're back to school, and you've got this really nice long bit of time before the school holidays. So it's a really good time to think, right, okay, let's focus. What do I want to work on and where do I want to be going into summer? This is the perfect time. So if you're thinking that you failed on your New Year's resolutions or you're feeling really stuck right now, now's a really good time to draw a line. And I actually spoke about this on one of my reels the other day. It's one of the most important and life-changing mindsets to have, drawing a line. It really doesn't matter about what's already happened or hasn't happened. The thing that's actually important is about what you choose to do next and moving forwards. So I just want to say that now's a really good time to be thinking about that. And this coming Tuesday, I'm doing a free webinar. So tell everybody, everyone's invited, and I'll put the link in the show notes as well. What to do if you're doing all the right things, but you're just not getting the results, because it can be the most frustrating thing ever. So let's talk about what's going on and how you can actually move forwards. So all you need to do is sign up. It's a free webinar. Come along next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Bring a notepad, pen, some water, cup of tea, whatever you want, or your dinner, and let's chat. And squaddies, June challenge, we're on it. We are on it. Choose a level that is challenging for you, but also realistic with the timescales that you've got to dedicate to it as well. So you're not setting yourself up for failing, but you're setting yourself up for challenging yourself. Yes, being motivated and staying accountable, but not killing yourself. Okay, so just something to bear in mind, everyone. Right, let's crack on. Let's go straight into the Q&A. So today I'm going to split it up into sections. We're going to talk about nutrition and habits. Then we'll move on to talk about fitness, training, and then finally we'll talk a little bit more about technique. So let's start off with a juicy topic that is nutrition and habits. Okay, number one, what is a normal speed of weight loss per week? I've lost steadily during the reboot, but I feel myself getting itchy feet. I'm working hard at nutrition and exercise, but the weight isn't coming off as quick as I hoped. I don't want to lose the momentum and quit. Any tips to help? Okay, and this can be such a big frustration. And I personally think you've got to find the balance between getting results and losing weight, but also not wanting things so fast and we want it now, having the impatience and then jumping off it and trying to find something else. And then that works for a little bit and then it doesn't. And then we move to something else because we never actually get anywhere. So a steady amount of weight to lose and recommended amount of weight would be 0.5 kilo to a kilo a week, which is about 1 to 2 pounds per week. What most people tend to find is that at the start of a weight loss journey, you lose a lot of weight fast because a lot of that is water weight. And then it will tend to plateau. But it will not just tend to plateau because, we're not losing as much water weight anymore. It will plateau because there's literally less of you. Like you are a smaller mass than you were before. So you might need to adjust your calorie intake. You might need to adjust your food intake a little bit to accommodate for that. And if you are losing more than a kilo or more than 2 pounds a week, I'd be a little bit concerned that you are losing muscle mass. We want to try and preserve as much lean muscle mass as possible so that you get that beautiful, toned, healthy, lean shape, but also for your metabolism, for your bone density, and for your strength. We don't want to be losing strength. We want to keep hold of that and improving our muscle to body fat ratio. So we want to keep as much lean muscle mass as possible. And that's why it is recommended to not go any further than that per week. Now, at the end of the day, as long as we're making progress, and by the way, progress is not linear. It is not linear. You will have some weeks where you lose weight, and you'll have other weeks where it feels pretty stagnant, and then all of a sudden you lose it again, and then it feels stagnant for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it goes again. So have patience, and if you are weighing yourself, if you choose to weigh yourself, you don't have to lose weight. But if you are choosing to weigh yourself as opposed to doing things like progress pictures, etc., every single day at the same time, use it as a piece of data, literally. It is a piece of data. It says nothing about you as a person or, how healthy you're getting. It's a piece of data. Take the lowest weight of the week and compare it over the weeks because it will take out some of those natural fluctuations that we get, particularly as women. So make sure you are doing that. And then, if you find that you've got 3 weeks where your lowest weight is exactly the same and you're stagnant, then we drop the portion sizes by 20%. Leave that for 3 weeks. See how we're getting on. If you start to lose weight, great. continue at that. And it's just a case of adjusting. Like, of course, we don't want to be stagnant for weeks on end because then we're not actually getting anywhere. But what is important is to just take a step back and think, well, as long as I am making progress and I'm going in the right direction, does it actually matter how long it takes for me to get there as well? Like if I get to my goal weight in 6 months or 8 months, I'm getting there. And generally speaking, usually the slower the rate, and I'm not talking about super slow because of course you've got to find a balance. Otherwise it's just frustrating and demotivating. I'm talking about 1 to 2 pounds on average. And some weeks that might look like nothing or half a pound, remember. If generally speaking, people who do that manage to sustain it when they get to a healthy weight, which is ultimately where we want to be. We want to be at maintenance weight, right? And maintenance is a range, by the way. It's not an exact weight. It's a range. We tend to fluctuate as human beings between, £5 here or there, or maybe even for some people a little bit more. Anyway, maintenance is our target. People who have taken a steady weight loss journey tend to find that when they get to maintenance, they don't have to change that much. They don't have to alter that much. And it's kind of how they've been living their life already. So they tend to, lose weight and keep it off as well. Something to bear in mind. People who tend to rapidly lose it, going on a quick fix, also are the people who tend to bang it back on again. So just something to bear in mind. If your body can only absorb a certain amount of protein in one go, what would be the gap you need to leave between meals and snacks in order for your next protein intake to be absorbed? Eat little and often to keep energy levels consistent. I'm curious how much protein is being utilized in my frequent snacking. Really good question. So the whole our body can only absorb 20 to 30 grams of protein at a time is correct, but in a certain context. So 20 to 30 grams of protein at one time is how much our body can absorb for protein synthesis. So, replenishing, building our bodies back, our muscles back up, if you like, in simple terms. You do absorb all the protein, but not all of it will be used for protein synthesis necessarily. Sometimes it might be used for like our bodily functions. Sometimes it might be used as a source of energy. Sometimes it might go to, a waste product. But if we're just talking about protein synthesis, about 20 to 30 grams of protein in one sitting is absorbed for protein synthesis. So I would be thinking about, not necessarily exact timings. I mean, if you want more of an exact timings, think every 3-4 hours or something like that, but really be thinking about it in sittings throughout the day. So 4 to 5 sittings throughout the day, for example, to get your protein in. So that might look like 3 meals and 1 or 2 snacks, for example. And then you're making sure that you are getting it at intervals throughout the day to help your body absorb for the most efficient protein synthesis. I've been working away from home. The food is all provided and basically a cooked breakfast every morning and a big cooked meal for dinner. I've been trying to eat small portions and fill up from the salad bar as much as possible. Should I just write this week off and start again on Monday once I get home? No, not at all. Remember, imperfect action is the way forward. And I'd never ever say write off this week and start again on Monday. It doesn't matter where we are right now. A lot of people have a thing about Monday and about how Monday is a fresh start. And I know as human beings, we're taught that, aren't we? Monday's the first day of the week and a fresh start. But if you get to Thursday or Friday and things have just totally gone to pot, draw a line there. Because then, say for example, things go to pot on Thursday and you think, right, I'm going to start on Monday. Well, that's 3 more days it could potentially go to pot as well. So let's just draw a line. So that's just with the whole Monday mindset. We don't like the Monday mindset. We don't do that. We draw a line here. Now, if I go back to talking about when you're away from home, control the controllables and just think imperfect action here. It's so important. Each meal, base it around a protein source and then getting some veggies or fruit in. So if it is a cooked breakfast, okay, protein source, what can we get? Are there any eggs there? Right, okay, we've got some poached eggs. Great, tick in the box. Have they got any fruit or veggies there? Oh, they've got some grilled tomatoes and they've got some mushrooms. Oh, okay, great. Let's put those on our plate as well. And let's have a slice of seeded bread with it. Excellent. Perfectly balanced, very healthy breakfast. Let's move on to lunch and dinner. Now, if it's you're doing all the right things by filling up on the salad bar, thinking food volume. Protein and food volume is going to be key. And this is if you're on a fat loss journey, of course. If you're not, this, really might not be relevant at all. But I would say, protein first of all, and then fill up on your fruits and veggies, salad bar, think food volume. Satisfy your tummy and satisfy the eye as well. And just be sensible about it, be pragmatic. If dinner is going to be big, let's go a little bit lighter at lunchtime and control the controllables. And I'd also say, be mindful when you're eating. Stop when you're full. And if there are things like sauces and creams, just go easy on them. maybe avoiding them or pouring them on yourself. And if there's a lot of alcohol around, be sensible about that as well. Where can we make little tweaks or little changes? I know quite often working away from home can involve, people going for drinks afterwards, etc. Can you have wine with soda water? Can you have a gin and a slimline tonic? Can we just stop at one or two? Can we make it really last a long time? So just deal with whatever you've got in front of you and know that it's not your normal routine as well. But I would just say, yeah, just make sensible decisions and stay hydrated too. Speaking of alcohol, okay, I don't drink that much alcohol, but since becoming a mum, I am drinking more often, even if it's just a bit, than I'd like to. Some weeks a glass most nights, as I often feel physically worse afterwards, even with a small amount. Any habits that have worked well in your coaching experience, short of raw willpower to cut back frequency, when the overall amount isn't a problem, but you'd rather a stressful day didn't need to end with a drink? Totally get where you're coming from. And so many mums feel this way. And please don't feel like you're alone in any of this. And I think we're almost taught to think that we deserve a glass of wine. If it's been a really long or hard day, like we deserve a wine, right? It's the thing that we are taught, and we use it to relax. It's a relaxant. It's as a drug, which it is. It's a poison at the end of the day. It relaxes the body to an extent. But what you also have to recognize is that it is a poison. So sometimes I think it helps to break it down into almost like what it is and the science that it actually is. So it's a glass of poison at the end of the day. We're putting it into our body. And not only that, you can get into like a bit of a cycle with it, because it can make you get a less restorative sleep. So although you might go to sleep faster, the sleep is way less restful, way less. So you can wake up feeling absolutely exhausted, which makes you kind of drag your heels and drag your butt through the day. And by the end of the day, you feel like you need a glass of wine. Also, it can heighten our stress levels. So if we're already feeling stressed, we're already feeling overwhelmed, or even just tired, it really doesn't help. It can contribute towards that, especially in the long run as well. And I'd be thinking about, okay, so what is it that I really want? If it's just to like help me wind down and relax at the end of the day, that's the feeling that I'm after. That's the feeling that I want. And the feeling that I don't want is the feeling the next day where I'm feeling a little bit cloudy, a bit sluggish, not amazing. How can I get that feeling? What else could do that? I know, soak in a bubble bath. Well, I'm going to put on a really chilled yoga. Or do you know what? I'm going to go put on a face mask and watch some trash TV. What else can give you that feeling of wind down that you look for in the glass elsewhere? Another technique, so this is a mindset technique as well, and it's a very, very good one, is play it forward. So you've got two options. You have a glass of wine or few, or you don't. If you have the glass of wine or few, how will you feel in the morning? How are you feeling yourself? If you don't, how will you feel in the morning? Probably like very glad. I don't know anyone who's ever regretted it, like not having a drink. So we did dry January as one of the challenges, and we talked about all of this kind of thing in the dry January challenge. And everyone said they never got to the next morning and regretted not having a drink the night before. Everyone really, really appreciated the fact they didn't do it and actually felt proud of themselves. And it's a bit like, train your bicep. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, the stronger you get. So that's a very good way of doing it. Play it forward. How do you want to feel? I want to feel proud of myself tomorrow and I want to actually feel fresh. Okay, so I'm not going to have one. And what you can do is just get some really nice Prosecco in, put it in a really nice glass, jazz it up and enjoy it. It will also feel like a nice treat. So you can even do that and just replace it. Or some people like to have their set days when they're going to have some alcohol and the other days absolute no-go. Other people like to try and challenge themselves. Say, if I feel like I can't go for a week without having a glass of wine, then that's a problem. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do a week, prove it to myself I don't need it. There are other ways that I can wind down, I can relax, and then I'll go have wine the week after, but I'll just moderate it. Because sometimes all it takes is a bit of a, right, let's stop for a few days, and then that you can feel the habit kind of going away. Especially if you do something like dry January, where you have a month off. A lot of people tend to find they get towards the end and actually they're really not that bothered about going back to it. Some people even then go teetotal after dry Januaries. Sometimes it just takes a little break to realise that actually I don't need this. And actually there's loads of other ways that I can wind down. But the most useful thing I found, so I did dry January as well. The most useful thing I found is just getting loads of really nice non-alcoholic bevies in, putting them in a nice glass and then playing it forwards. And like I said, I never looked back and regretted it. ever. I hope that helps. Healthy fast snack suggestions I can have on the go. Oh my goodness, yes, there are so many. You could have, dead easy, take a piece of fruit or a few pieces of fruit. You could have a protein bar, or a protein shake. You could have some rice cakes with some peanut butter. You could have some cottage cheese and oat cakes. You could have some roasted chickpeas. You could have a piece of cheese and some Baby Bell with, I don't know, some grapes or some fruit or something like that. Loads of different easy types, or even yogurt. So a little pot of Greek yogurt or those pouches of yogurt as well. And even, just like a sandwich or half a sandwich or a bagel with some cream cheese. They can be like really easy portable snacks as well. But yeah, there's just a few ideas. But if anyone else has got any more ideas or things that are your go-to, please do share. I hope that gives you some ideas. And oh yeah, things like you can have like roast chicken or things like boiled eggs. Just make a load of boiled eggs in one go, peel them, whack them all in the fridge, and then they're all there. Just grab them. Dead easy, and they're actually really filling. So now I'm going to move on to more of a fitness and training side. If you were doing 2 on-demand classes, does it matter which order you do them in? For example, should you do cardio first and then strength, or strength then holistic? Yes and no. If your main focus is to improve your strength, do your strength first. So when your body is feeling fresher and less fatigued, you're more likely to be able to have a better technique and lift heavier. So do strength first and then cardio afterwards. If that isn't really your goal and your goal is just maybe general fat loss, or you're not really fussed either way around, do cardio first or strength first. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't massively matter either way. But if you had to say, then if strength is your main goal, do strength first. I would either do them on a rest day, active rest day, or I'd do them after the workout, after the strength or cardio. Unless you wake up in the morning and you are super stiff and you're about to say go on a run or a hike and you just need to mobilize your muscles a little bit. You just need to loosen off and maybe do like a short holistic beforehand, just to get the body loose and prepared. But apart from that, that's the order that I would personally go in. Do you think there's an ideal combination for the number of strength, cardio and holistic sessions per week? Again, it depends on your goals. Like, is your main goal to improve your strength and body composition? Is it to improve your heart health and get fitter or run faster? Mind you need strength for that as well. Or is it to, become more mobile and release joint pain and improve your flexibility? So you see what I'm getting at here? Like, obviously do more of whatever your goal is, but make sure you still have a balance. If I had to say, I would say absolute minimum 2 strength classes a week for whoever you are, for everybody, for everyone. And if you are over the age of 30, I would be saying 3. I would say a couple of cardios and 1 to 2 holistics. If I had to say like an ideal combination, if I had to. And if you're short on time, prioritize strength, definitely. Something that I do personally, so I tend to bolt some of them together. So I'll have a couple of days where they literally are in my own workouts. I just focus on strength on those days. And on the alternate days, I'll be doing some cardio. And then I always have some holistic in there too. And I tend to bolt that on, or sometimes put it on like a rest day. Generally on my rest days, I'll just do like dog walks. But if I can, then I'll do like a short holistic as well. But I tend to bolt them on afterwards. And then I'll have one day, so the third strength, which would be like half of a strength and half of a cardio, for example. So I might do, I don't know, a 20-minute strength and a 20-minute cardio. That's just me. That works really well for me. And it makes sure that I get strength in, cardio in, and holistic as well. When I've done exercise, I can definitely feel it a bit in my body the next day, but I don't massively ache. Does that mean I'm not working hard enough? Absolutely not. So there's also a question about DOMS here. DOMS is delayed onset muscle soreness, and that's that achy feeling about, when you feel after a workout. Actually, I'm going to tag these 2 questions together. So the first one was, do the sore muscles after exercise generally get better? And this one is, if I don't feel sore, have I worked hard enough? So our muscles feel sore when we have stimulated them in a different way, so a new novel way, or we've worked them harder than normal. That's when we feel delayed onset muscle soreness. So that sore feeling. And it's basically micro tears and inflammation in the muscles. And the way that we get stronger is we stimulate the muscles. So we cause this it's almost like upset, isn't it? And it doesn't have to feel sore to cause that, by the way. And then once we stimulated them, we sent a signal to our body. It is outside of the workouts that you actually then get stronger. So that's why you have to have rest. That's why you have to have rest days. It's why, it's important to make sure we're having enough protein, drinking enough water, sleeping the best we possibly can, within our control. All those things will basically build your strength. So strength is built outside of workouts, but we need to stimulate the body in the first place. So if you are new to some of these workouts, yes, you are going to feel that delayed onset muscle soreness. It gets better, 100%. Your body adapts, and the body is very, very clever and it adapts rather quickly. So just stay with it. And if you do feel sore, particularly in a certain area, we'll just rest that area the next day. Hydrate, protein, get good sleep if you can, and then allow your body to recover. So as long, in terms of working hard enough, like if you're doing the workout, you feel like you're challenged in the workout, you feel your muscles in the workout, then, or you're seeing yourself make progress. So, when we're doing stronger and we get to the 3rd or 4th week and you're either having to stop less or you're adding more weight on, then amazing. You're getting stronger, you're making progress. So, but you might not necessarily feel that achy feeling. For example, my body adapts very, very well, and it's a sign of efficiency as well. Your body is getting fitter. My body adapts very well. I rarely do feel the massive soreness unless, we're doing strong and we're starting to add the nuggets on and really, really, doing something that is challenging the muscles, which is good to do every so often. But you don't want to be feeling achy after every single workout. That would show that your body's not really adapting very well. But at the start, so say if you just started the 6-week reboot and just started strength workouts, and you'll feel a little bit of that, and that's okay. Your body will get used to it. As I've been walking more this week, my calves feel really tight and my calves and shins hurt when I'm walking. What exercise can I do to help with this? Okay, so I would say 1, check your footwear. 2, check how you're walking as well. Are you walking heel toe, or are you walking maybe a little bit more on your toes? Try and make sure you are striking the foot down, so a bit more like center of the foot, heel toe when you're walking. And it might be worth even reducing your stride, so making, like when you're walking more kind of underneath the hips, so reducing the strides a little bit. Something to think about maybe. And just give your calves a good stretch out, maybe a roll with a foam roller if you've got one, or a tennis ball. Just give them a good stretch out. And your shins, you can do exercises like, for example, just lifting the toes up towards the calf. You could even use a resistance band for it, just really trying to work that area. So as in like flexing the ankle upwards, etc., pulling the toes back, and your body will adapt. It will get used to it. But there's just a few things that you could do in the meantime. I really struggle with steep slopes and steps. I'm on holiday in Cornwall at the moment, which involves a lot of steps to and from the beach. I'm struggling big time getting back up. Are there classes that would benefit me in helping with this problem? Now, slopes and steps are difficult anyway. We all get out of breath and we all might need a moment on the way up. So what I would say is you want to be focusing on your glute and leg strength, booty band, stronger, lower body strength. So that is number 1, to push and propel you upwards. Core strength, which is going to come into it too. And then also cardio, little short bursts of cardio. So do you do any HIIT or sculpt, for example? Can we start to include some of that in our week and push ourselves when we do it? Even, once a week, push yourself when you do it. Really get the heart rate up, get it going. So therefore we're improving our cardio fitness. And then if we improve strength in the core and the lower body, you'll be powering up those slopes and steps. And, find some steps. You've got some steps in your house, plow up the stairs. Now we're going to move on to a bit more of a technique section, and a little bit, a bit more technical. It's a bit of technique and a bit more technical. Since having twins, I have diastasis recti and the crunches and sculpt don't feel good. Is there anything I can do instead? Okay, so diastasis recti, for those who don't know, where it's basically abdominal separation, and it's where your 6-pack separates. We all have a strip of tissue in between our 6-pack called the linea alba. And when we have children or when we are pregnant, that stretches, of course, to accommodate for a baby. And everybody gets it. So every pregnant woman will get diastasis recti. So that is just a thing, and it's something that we can do our best to try and keep our deep core muscles strong so that we get back to a stronger core quicker. But for some people, the linea alba has a little bit of a hard time in kind of tightening up again. So what we need to do is we need to help it. And things like crunches won't be helping because they are increasing intra-abdominal pressure. So we want to avoid anything that increases intra-abdominal pressure. So this goes for if you have diastasis recti, if you are postpartum, or if you are currently pregnant right now. We want to try and keep the deep core as strong as possible. Avoid any exercises that cause coning or doming, which is literally where you can see your tummy go into like a bit of a Toblerone shape. Avoid any exercises like that. It just shows that you're not engaging your core properly. So what we want to be doing is focusing on breath work. So zipping up through the pelvic floor and zipping up like you're wearing a tight pair of jeans. Draw the navel in towards the spine and then relax, and then do it again. Again, zip up the tight pair of jeans. You want to be doing deep core work. So things like dead bugs, or lying on your back and doing toe taps or heel slides, or go to Pilates and anything that says deep core. Planks with caution. If you find yourself coning or doming in a plank, either make sure you come down to your knees or stop doing planks and do dead bugs, toe taps, knee slides instead. So go onto Pilates or just go into the search bar, type in deep or deep core, and they'll all come up there. I keep seeing videos for pull-ups as an exercise. I don't have one of these at home, but I was curious if I could do a pull-up on a bar. So on an early morning dog walk, I passed a set of bars on the kids' playground. Seeing as no one was around, I tried doing a pull-up and I failed. I seemed to have no strength at all. Do we exercise these muscles to pull our own body weight in our stronger workouts? And how could I get stronger to achieve this? What alternative exercises could I do at home that don't require a fixed bar? Are there any short add-ons I could do? Also made me wonder if I need to be lifting much heavier weights. Okay, I just want to say, first of all, that's amazing that you went and did that. Yes. And pull-ups are not easy. The majority of people cannot do pull-ups. It's a real test of upper body strength because it's relative strength. It's strength versus your own body weight. Like, you are lifting your whole body weight. So failure to do these, like the first time you try it, is totally normal and doesn't mean you're weak at all. It just means that you haven't trained the specific pattern of doing a pull-up. And sometimes it is, a massive part of it is technique based. So yes, it's strength, yes, it's muscular strength, but also quite a lot of it is to do with the technique as well. So the things that a pull-up uses is your lats. So these are the big muscles on your back that give like that V shape, if you like. You see it particularly in men, the V shape. Biceps, shoulders, your upper back muscles like your rhomboids and your traps. So basically tops of shoulders and then the triangle at the top of your back. And a surprising amount of core is needed in it as well. So bearing these muscles in mind, and these are all muscles that we do in our strength classes. So for example, when we're doing things like rows, we're doing deadlifts, our core training, our deep core training, we're working all of these. But a pull-up pattern itself is very specific. To build towards it, you need to stimulate that pattern as much as possible. So realistically, the best way to get better at pull-ups is to practice pull-ups. But what you can do, if you don't have a pull-up bar, this is what you can do. You can practice doing bent over rows to work your lats, your rhomboids, your biceps. Isometric holds, so you could grab a resistance band and mimic the top of the pull-up. So hold your elbows at 90 degrees and then squeeze your back. Or you can do it this way. You can get the more flexible resistance bands, so not the ones that we use. You could put it over a door and use it to pull down as well. Or if you have got a bar, or something you can use, you can do negative ones. So this is a really good way actually to practice doing a full pull-up. So you basically start at the top of the movement. So you might want to put some steps or a chair underneath, get yourself to the top of the movement and then lower yourself down. That is how a lot of people then progress to doing a full one. So they're all things that you can do. Do you need to lift heavier? Not necessarily, just probably smarter. So you could progressively overload your back and your biceps and shoulders. Maybe focus on things like compound lifts, like rows, like the band pull downs, like the negatives that I spoke about. But I would say if you're comfortable, so say you're doing things like stronger, you're comfortable doing like 15, 20 reps with the current weights that you've got now, it might be worthwhile doing more upper body strength stuff. So coming out as stronger. So say if you do stronger a couple times a week, for the third strength, do an upper body strength and focus on lifting a little bit heavier in that if you want to. And there are loads of add-ons for upper body strength. So if you go to the strength section, go to upper body, have a look at those, and you could use those as add-ons and just focus on lifting a little bit heavier. But you can absolutely work towards it. And if you want to improve, so you can do one, I would actually get one and practice doing those negatives as well. So doing what I suggested, then those negatives too. But yeah, I think that's amazing. In aerobics and other cardio classes involving stepping, running, jumping, you sometimes say to put your heels down. I've noticed that I don't sometimes, and I wonder if you have general advice about this. I think it's contributing to tightness in my calves. Yeah, so if you spend a lot of time on the balls of your feet, you will be building up tightness in your calves and also your Achilles, and you're not getting as much glute and hip engagement if you're on your toes all the time. So just consciously think heel down. So when you're doing curls, like leg curls, plant the heel down. And it will take some time to actually remind yourself to do it, but make sure you are conscious with that. So plant your heel down. Sometimes, we are on the balls of the feet. So if we are doing a bounce side to side, we need to be light. We need to be on the balls of the feet. But when we don't need to be light, then let's put our heels down. So just thinking like brush the floor, strike the floor, and then you'll get used to it. And if you are tight in your calves, so just like I said earlier, foam rolling, making sure that you are doing things like yoga and yogascape, those downward facing dogs, beautiful calf stretches. Okay, final two questions, team. I practice balancing on one leg whenever I get the opportunity. My balance isn't very good when I'm stood on my yoga mat on top of the interlocking cushioned floor. Should I move on to a hard floor for the balance part of the workout, or should I persevere to improve my balance? Really good question. So the reason this is happening is because it's more of an unstable surface. So it is going to be challenging your ankle. It's going to be challenging your core stability a lot more. It's going to be challenging our hip or knee. So yes, and on our proprioception as well. So if you are on a spongy mat or a spongy floor, it is going to be harder to balance. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, particularly, if we are wanting to improve our balance. What I would say is get comfortable on a hard floor first with your balance. Then as soon as you are comfortable balancing in that way on the hard floor, progress and move on to the yoga mat or the interlocking cushioned floor, and then go for it. Because then you'll be able to see your progress as well. So yes, kind of persevere, but just make sure that you've got you've got your balance nailed on the hard floor first. On Superman's, I'm strong extending my right arm or left leg, but very wobbly extending left arm, right leg. Where am I weak and how can I strengthen that side? Should I do more reps on the weak, wobbly move side? Really good question. So chances are you could be weak in your core, your upper body, so upper body, shoulder, or your glute medius. Classes for that: Pilates, booty band, upper body strength, or stronger. So you might not be engaging your deep core when you're doing it on that side. Then there'll be some imbalances in the body, and that's, by the way, totally normal. And what is amazing is that you're being so mindful and you are feeling that in your body as well. So incredible. You might even want to start by lifting the arm and then sliding the leg back afterwards and lifting it to get you into that stable position. But I would say, yeah, glutes, core, upper body. It could be either three of those things. You could do more reps on the weaker side if you wanted to. Yeah, you could absolutely do like a couple more, or do what I said and then just be very, very conscious and very mindful on that side. So we've engaged the core first before we move. We start off with one arm and then we add the leg afterwards. So maybe you just take it a little bit slower on that side as well. So real focus in. Okay, team, that is all for the Q&A this week. I really hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you found it really insightful. Please let me know. So do let me know by commenting below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear if there was anything in particular that really resonated with you or helped you today. I love to get your feedback. I love to hear it. So enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to sign up to the webinar as well. So all about what to do when you're doing all the right things, but you're just not getting the right results. And enjoy the rest of your week, everyone. Have a good one.